For those of you who may be new to the Save a Leg, Save a Life Foundation, and to all of our friends and supporters, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Desmond Bell, the founder and president of the Save a Leg, Save a Life Foundation. And obviously you see that I'm wearing a white sock. And there's a reason for that. A few years ago, we began something called the White Sock Campaign. And this was to raise awareness of peripheral arterial disease, specifically during the month of September, which interestingly is PAD Awareness Month. You know, we looked at the problems that are associated with PAD and diabetes related conditions, ultimately amputation, and how often it's so unnecessary, and yet for so many people it's often the first line of treatment. We have technology in our country that's underutilized, and really we have a problem that's so vast that it's mind-boggling at times. The most disturbing thing is that we have so many people now who have diabetes, and the number is increasing. So we've got a lot of work to do. So what is this white sock all about, really? Well, you think about it. In October, everybody understands what the pink ribbon stands for. Yet we have something that's potentially affecting at least 33 million people in our country right now. But this is a worldwide issue. So we had to come up with a way that would start calling attention to the lower extremities. Hence the white sock idea. The whole idea was to take photos using a white sock on one leg and then posting it on social media, and hopefully the idea would start to go viral. And that's exactly what's happened. Last year we had posts from as far away as Malaysia, as well as all through the United States, and in the past we've also had posts from Latin America, Europe, you name it. Everywhere there are people with diabetes, and there's a need for what we're trying to do. So the point is, though, we're trying to raise awareness about what PAD is and why it's so important, because most people have never heard the term. So that's one of our goals. The second goal is to try and get people tested for PAD, because really testing is simple and it's not anything that's painful. But the whole point is, if you don't know what you're looking for, how will you may not ever discover something until it's too late. So, idea again, in September, put on a white sock, take photos. I'm going to tell you a little story about something that happened to me a couple years ago. In fact, it was the very first year that we actually began this campaign. I put on a white sock and I walked into my local hospital in Jacksonville, Florida. And I was barely through the front door when I was stopped by some of the staff who asked me if there was something wrong. It was like, "Dr. Bell, did you hurt your leg?" And at that point I said, "No, but I'm glad you asked." And at this point I began telling them about what PAD was and what September represented. They began taking notes. And I still remember some of the questions that people were asking me were, how do I get tested for PAD? Do I have PAD? So what we've created here are teaching moments. And that's one of the essences of the White Sock Campaign. So it's not only creating awareness, but it's creating teaching moments. So part of the goal is to really prevent things from turning catastrophic, because PAD is something that can ultimately lead to gangrene or amputation, not to mention painful wounds. So the idea, though, is to be proactive versus reactive. So again, by doing this, putting on a white sock and telling your friends about it, take pictures, post it on social media. Again, our hashtag is #WhiteSockCampaign. Something so simple is so effective. But I want you to do something even more this year. For those of you who've done the White Sock Campaign in the past, you know how much fun it is. Well, I want you to do videos this year. And just how I was describing my experiences walking into my hospital, I'd like you to put on a white sock, and I'd like you to see people's reaction when you're wearing the white sock. And if they start asking you questions, see if you can get permission and to record it, and just see what their responses are, and especially when you start telling them a little bit about it and why it's so important. So let's have some fun this September. One other little thing too, we'd like you to become involved. So obviously taking pictures and videos with the white sock is important. But if you'll email us at our email address, which is thesalsal.org, that's THESALSAL.org @gmail.com. We'll send you a kit. It'll include some socks, a little lapel pin, kind of like the one that I'm wearing, only something you can pin on your lab coat or wherever you feel comfortable. But anyway, I hope you do this. And I just want to tell you one last little follow-up to that story that I told a minute ago. You know, that day that I was wearing my white sock, I felt really uncomfortable. You know, people definitely notice, and nobody wants to be the center of attention, especially for something like that. So, you know, you can feel kind of awkward and kind of weird. And it definitely felt that way to me too. Well, it wasn't until later that day, as I was sitting in my car, it kind of hit me pretty hard. As I was taking my sock off, I said, you know, now I can kind of get back to normal. Nobody's going to be looking at me or staring at me. And I started to imagine what it would be like being somebody who had a leg amputated, leaving the house for the first time without a leg, maybe in a wheelchair, or even maybe the first time wearing a prosthesis. And the point is that there's no turning back for those people. That's it. And so imagine being in that person's position. You know, again, we have so much to be thankful for, and by all means, we have to do better. I hope that you will join me in our efforts this year. We've got some great things in the works for September and beyond, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, please check out our website and our social media. Again, it's the Save a Leg, Save a Life Foundation. Our website is thesalsal.org. Anyway, I know I talked a lot today, which is really kind of unusual for me, but it's obviously important to me. So remember, September, P80 Awareness Month, get out those white socks, let's have some fun, and please, let's start making a difference. Thanks very much.